This needs to be a question that you tattoo on your eyelids if you want to do conversion rate optimization. Hey, it's your boy Chris here, and in today's video, I want to share with you how to optimize your website conversions. Now, in this video, I'm going to reveal with you what is my process of identifying the customer needs, understanding what exactly they're looking once they do land on your website. And then, of course, finally, I'm going to share a few tools that I'm using to see exactly how people navigate through my website. The very first step, and in my opinion, the most important of them all, is to know your customer. Because without understanding their emotions, like their pains, their desires, what exactly they're looking for, where they've been in the past and why they landed on the website, you can actually do a normal split testing campaign and identify for sure a winning version. So what I do see on my screen is the table that I'm using when collecting all of this information from the web. So for every single emotion that I'm collecting the data, I basically break it down into multiple columns. The very first column is called aware, and this is like all the saying and everything I find out from the users that they are in the aware stage. So they do have a specific problem, but they never looked for a solution. Second table is consideration. And this is where I'm trying to tap into users that most probably already did some sort of research on Google and they're already looking for a solution. Then the very last column that I have in terms of the funnel, it's called customer. And these are basically for users or for leads, for prospects that already became customers. The next column is called URL. And this is where I do have a link from that specific finding. And the very last one is notes, where I put a few notes about what I do believe from researching the market. Now, what I do next is I do create 3 different tables that do represent 3 different emotions: desires, pains, and concerns. Desires is obviously what people desire the most. What is their hopes, their dreams? Next table is for pains, and this is what frustrates them, what they're afraid of, right? And then the final one, the final emotion, is concerns. And these are things like different objections that they might get throughout their buying journey, throughout their research online journey, and of course their concerns. So typically what I do to complete these 3 different tables is I go online on different platforms, different websites, and I'm trying to find what my potential users might be talking about, platforms that you can use completely for free, like Quora, Reddit, Facebook groups, industry forums, Twitter, Google also Ask, and many, many more. One of the main reasons why tech companies, and not only tech companies, but businesses in general, they typically fail to hit their product market fit is because they haven't run a proper market research. And what is happening is you start developing services and features that people don't need. Fun fact, by the way, only 20% of the features of any software in the world, it's actually being used. So now coming back to this table, usually I do spend here anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. I'm trying to immerse myself into my customer shoes, reading a lot of forums, reading a lot of community pages, a lot of groups, and sometimes even engaging in conversations, because there is a reason why we're being called marketers. Now, I know that spending 2 to 4 weeks on this market research, it's the most boring shit that you will ever do. But boring stuff usually works. So once I do complete this table, the very next step is to actually do this 10 smart market diagnosis and profiling questions. And these are not my questions, just so you know. These are the questions from what I do believe is the best copywriter that existed on this planet, and that is Dan Kennedy. And he wrote many, many books, including my favorite, which is The Ultimate Sales Letter. So the very first question that I do answer once I do finish up this table is, what keeps my user awake at night? What doesn't allow them to sleep, eyes open, looking at the ceiling? Now, this is really important because as human beings, we're more driven by our fears rather than desires. So if you tell someone that they're gonna lose $100 rather than telling that they're gonna win $100, they will be more compelled knowing that they will lose those $100. So we're always being driven more by our pains, by the fear of losing our freedom, by the fear of losing something we do care about. That is the number one question, which in my opinion, there is a reason why it's the very first one. It's the one of the most important of them all that you have to answer. Now, the second question is, what are they afraid of? And this is another important question because you need to know exactly how you need to change your copy. So you push this more onto those fears and things that people are concerned about. Now, the third question is what they're angry about. And obviously you need to know why they're pissed off. Maybe they've been using your competitor product or maybe your competitor service, right? So you want to make sure you know exactly what are they angry about. And a really good place to look for these is different review websites like Aptera, G2, Yelp, and many, many more, because then you can filter by 1-star reviews or 2-star reviews or 3-star reviews. And then from there, you can extract all of these insights and then add them to your table. Fourth question is, what are their top 3 daily frustrations? And in the Ultimate Sales Letter, Dan Kennedy calls this the theater in the mind. So you need to put into your customer's shoe and truly see how their day look like. From the moment they wake up, drink the coffee, till the moment they do this work from home, they hop on Zoom meetings and so on. Next question is, what trends are occurring and will occur in their lives? This is also important, like different trends that are appearing, different mainstream events that are happening. Next one is there a built-in bias to the way they make decisions? And one example is that engineers, they're exceptionally analytical. This is something that you really need to know, because if your main audience are, let's say, developers or engineers or someone who is extremely analytical, then obviously you want to avoid writing long copy. You want to make sure that your copy is crystal clear, it's simple to read, it's full of technical details, so your target audience can make better informed decisions and of course take an action you want them to take. The 8th question is, do they have their very own language? This is another important point here. You want to speak their language. So let's say you have a video editing tool. You want to talk the language of the video editors, of video producers, of video professionals, right? You want to use all of those acronyms and whatever words or slang they're using, because this brings likability. People like to follow other people who are similar with their traits, behavior, appearance, and so on. 9th question is, who else is selling similar services? And mainly this is a question about a competition. And the very last question is, who else tried selling them something similar and how was their effort failed? So it's also important not only to see who are your competitor, but also understand why their product doesn't work. And at this point, I do have a completed table, just like you can see on my screen. And of course, I have the answers to all of these 10 questions. Now, the very next step is to identify your funnel. So it's not only important to do your market research, but also look on your website and trying to figure out, hey, what would be my funnel if someone would land on my website? So what you do see on my screen is a simple infographic I put together. And let's say that this is your user, right? Let's call her Jane. Jane just landed on your website from multiple sales channels. Like maybe she came from a Google ad you're running. Maybe she came, let's say, from the Google search. Maybe you're doing SEO. Maybe she came from a Facebook post you made, or maybe from a Facebook or Instagram ad, or maybe she came from LinkedIn, right? Doesn't matter what is the medium or what is the channel she came to your website. What you want to do next is you want to take Jane on a journey through all of these stages of your funnel, from being aware who you are and what product or services you're selling, all the way to the consideration where you do explain your pricing, your features, you add social proof so she's convinced that other people just like her bought your product or did business with you, and finally, of course, take an action. So let's say that Jane landed on the homepage. Now, where exactly she will go from the homepage? Well, from the homepage, she wants to find out more about your business, whether it's to find out more about the products you're selling, the features that you have, or the services. At these pages, she is already in the aware stage. So she wants to learn more about your business. Now, from here, she might want to learn more about other people just like her that did business with you. So this is where she is looking for authority, credibility, and likability. And for the third step, we have pages like case studies, reviews, and projects, right? She goes on these pages just to gather more information about your business. And then if she's convinced, then the very last step, of course, is to maybe submit a lead form, a contact form, or to create an account if you have a software. Now, why I put this emoji right here? Because at any point, if your site navigation is bad, or if you're adding a lot of animations, or if you're not considering good copy, or basically helping her advance your funnel, then obviously she will be pissed off. She will be sad, and most probably she'll say like, hey, you know what? I'm just gonna quit the website and go to your competitor. So it's really important that Jane is happy throughout this journey. And that's why you obviously need to do your market research in the very first step. So just like you can see right here at the bottom, I put this big question that will help you create your very own funnel flow. What stops the user from advancing the funnel? So that is for the funnel flow. Now within the second step, I'm also using a couple of tools to better understand the user flow. The main tool that I'm using is obviously Google Analytics, because Google Analytics do have reports that allows you to basically visualize your user journey and the funnel. So within the Google Analytics, you have two amazing tools. One, it's called Funnel Exploration. Another one, it's called Path Exploration. What you do see on my screen, it's the Path Exploration, and this one right here, it's the Funnel Exploration. With the Funnel Exploration, you can basically build all of these steps that we basically discussed right here. You build them as a funnel exploration inside your Google Analytics, and then you can see exactly the drop-off. You can see exactly the number of conversions, the sessions, the devices being used, and many more information about the user. So that is for the funnel exploration. And I'm always installing Google Analytics and create my exploration even before starting redesigning a website or redeveloping a website. This is really important because you want to have the before and after effect of your design services, of your development services, of your conversion rate optimization. Really doesn't matter, but you always want to have a before and after so you can show results to your clients. So that is for the funnel exploration. When it comes to the path exploration, what is great about this, it allows you to see different landing pages and what are the additional pages people went from there. So what you see on my screen is the starting point, and from here, people navigate to different pages like homepage. This one with the /suite, it's the product page. Then we have the getting started, which is where they do create an account. We have the downloads where they download because this is like a software you need to install. And then we also have some additional pages at the very bottom. But just from this exploration, you can see if Jane or wherever user, it's following your funnel flow. So basically, it's following the steps that you mapped out in the beginning. So I hope this does make sense. Now, once I do add all of these tools and I do create these two big exploration in Google Analytics, one being the funnel exploration, second one being the path exploration. From there, I dive into the step number 3, which is fix and test. Now, this is where I do install the very first split testing tool, which for me, it's VWO. It's free to use and it comes with great features when you want to split test your website. So when it comes to split testing different elements on a page, I only do this with 5 different elements. There's no such a thing as changing the button color. I guarantee you this will not change your conversions. And you better stop listening to people telling you that, hey, change your button color from black to blue because blue shows credibility. Bullshit. Right, so now coming back to those 5 elements. Number 1, it's the navigation. So if your navigation, number 1, it's really hard to use, and number 2, does not consider that funnel flow that you mapped out, that's going to reduce the chances of someone going through all of these funnel stages that you put together, taking them from the awareness stage all the way to consideration and action. So I hope this does make sense. So navigation is first. Second one is call to action. And again, I'm not talking right here about changing the goddamn button color. I'm talking here about changing the button text. So your main call to action text that you put within a button. The text that you put inside the button needs to be an action that people want to take, not an action you want them to take. So I see a lot of SaaS companies, they go with get started for free. This is something that those SaaS companies want to do. They want their users to get started for free. But what their users want to do is completely different action. Yeah, so let's say you are a video editing tool. People, they just want to upload and edit their video and then download and then upload them on the YouTube, on the TikTok, really doesn't matter. But they don't want to get started. They want to upload the video, or they want to edit the video, or they want to publish the video. Yeah, if you are a CRM, same story. They don't want to get started for free. They want to automate their workflow. They want to send invoices to their clients. They want to have a dashboard with all of their financial reports. So next time you're gonna work on your call to action, make sure that the text of the call to action resembles an action that people want to take. This is critical. Now, the third element that I test, it's the main headline. So when it comes to a main headline, it needs to resemble an offer. I have 3 main components. What people desires the most, what is the level of effort of achieving a specific results they're looking for. And the final thing, it's a guarantee. And this is a universal formula for every single goddamn business in the world. If we take an example with the CRM, that would be automate your sales pipeline in 30 days, get started for free. That is a killer offer that you can put up and center on your homepage, pricing, and the landing pages you use for ads. Within your offer, you have to make viscerally clear what exactly they're gonna get, how fast or what is the effort, and finally, what is the premise to get started with you? Do I need to add my credit card information? Do I have any trial period or anything between? Just explaining your pricing model. The next element that I do test, it's the product or service presentation. So when you're designing your website, it's really important that you avoid using stock images. You want to create nice mock-ups and product visualizations so people can understand and get a feeling of how your app is working and how different features are working, because this will not only reduce the learning curve, but at the same time, they get a feeling to know your tool and to like your tool and to see a solution within your tool. And usually what I would test within the product or service demonstrations is simply having a product demo video or a video sales letter. That's literally all you need. Put a simple 10 to 15 minutes demo of your product or a video sales letter. And most importantly, put a face on this video. And I guarantee you, that's going to increase your conversions. Now, the very last element that I do test out, which is the most important of them all, is social proof. And again, really doesn't matter what kind of business you have, whether it's a tech product, it's a local business, it's a service-based, you always need to have social proof. You need to have case studies, you need to have video testimonials, you need to have written testimonials, you need to have stats about different results that your users achieved by using your product or by working with you. Keep in mind that skepticism nowadays is rampant, and it's important that you show people that other people just like you, my man, used our service or did business with us or used our product and they found success. This is something that is perfectly portrayed in Cialdini's book about the 6 weapons of influence, one being the social proof. And now basically these are just the 5 elements that I'm always testing out. And when I do so, I only test out one variable at a time and one element at a time. I'm never mix and matching my CTA with the headline or my headline with a video sales letter or a product demo video. I'm always testing out one variable at a time, so I know exactly which specific change counted for an increase in my conversion. And then when you put all of these together inside your VWO, you should see something like this, just like this screenshot I have at the bottom, where we have, let's say, the social proof element. Yeah, it's a winner one because we have this nice trophy icon, this green icon right here. And then we have the expected conversion rate, and then we have the improvement. And you can see that just by adding the social proof, that increased our conversion by 1.07%. If you keep testing all of these 5 elements, like your headline, your call to action, your navigation, you're gonna see an even more boost in your overall conversion rates. And lastly, I wanted to point out the way you would optimize your site. So the very first step is, of course, launching your website. Make sure you have all the tools in place like Google Analytics, Hotjar, Microsoft Clarity, so you can start recording user sessions and gather the insights. The very next step is to drive traffic, because you can't optimize your website, you can't optimize your conversions if you don't have any traffic. So ideally, for a healthy conversion rate optimization campaign, you need at least 1,000 visits. Okay, that's the bare minimum you can go about. But typically, I would recommend 10K and above. Keep in mind that most of these sections, they will be bounced back, will be different browser errors, will be just people accidentally maybe clicking on your ad or on your website. So I would say that even if you have the bare minimum of 1,000 visits per month, only 20 to 30% of these visits will actually be meaningful to you. And now, of course, the final step is to optimize the traffic. So once you started to get enough traffic and enough eyeballs on your offer, on your website, then you can start your very own conversion rate optimization campaign. So that was everything for today's video. And if you're gonna have any questions, keep in mind, YouTube section is your best friend. Chat soon.